back to the vlog. We've had a nice slow start. We're feeling very autumnal. I was gonna go to the gym this morning, but I fell asleep last night and forgot to edit last week's vlog. This is a reoccurring theme for me. I've already also cut a little fringe back in. What do you think? I just did it with my razor comb. I did it myself. It was looking a bit like curtains, so I've just trimmed a few layers back through. I always cut my own hair, and I've just cut a little fringe back in. So that wasn't the point of my story. So yeah, I fell asleep last night, and then I got up at 7 this morning to edit my vlog. And then I was gonna go to the gym, and then I was like, actually, what I would rather do this morning is it's like the perfect beginning of autumn day. Obviously the leaves aren't turning yet, but it's a little grey, but with spots of sunshine. It's lovely and cold. It's like a jumper weather. And Sean, my partner, is at work. So me and Daphne are going to wrap up warm, not the dog. She's already got a fur coat on. Going to wrap up warm and get out on a nice sort of 3 or 4 kilometre dog walk. Get her good and tired. Because what I want to do today is watch other people's autumnal vlogs, drink tea, and then I'm going to cook some ramen for dinner. And I've sort of cobbled together my own really basic 3-ingredient ramen recipe for just like the best broth ever. It's so easy. I just throw some stuff in and then I'm like, this is incredible. It is not authentic. It is not difficult, but if you want to just make like a super quick and easy ramen at home, this is the absolute one. So we'll make that together. So we're going to have a lovely warming ramen for tea. I've got loads coming up in the next few weeks that I'll be vlogging and stuff, but I'll talk to you about that later in the vlog. She's going to finish her breakfast and then she's going to get really antsy. If you've never been here before, yes, Daphne does eat off the coffee table. She doesn't like to eat her food off the floor, and it can be bad for digestion for them to eat off the floor. So she has it where she likes it. And this is how we do it. Finish your breakfast and then we'll go. So we're just going to go what we call the back lines. Oh, I love you. We're going to go down the back lines, which is just like the old coal lines if you live in the northeast, or it's probably in other parts of the country, but I'd never experienced it in Manchester, where the old coal lines used to run down the back of the houses. There's sort of nice country feeling walks, even though they're just around the corner from the house. So I'm going to throw my favourite autumnal jumper on, a big brown one that I got from TikTok shop for like £10. I didn't even get it, my mum got it for me from TikTok shop for about a tenner. I'm going to put that on, get wrapped up, and we're going to go on a big walk. And then I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow instead. Hold me accountable, I'll leave this here. If you don't see me in the gym in this vlog, you need to give me shit in the comments. Okay, we're ready to go. I've got to be real quick because Daphne's squeaking her face off because she knows I'm going out. I couldn't find the jumper from TikTok, so that was TikTok shop that I was talking about. And then I remembered that I actually wore it, let me sort my fringe out. I wore it to work earlier in the week and I took it off because it was hot and I've left it on my chair on my desk. So I've got this gorgeous little number on, which is another favourite. My mum got me this for Christmas last year from M&S. And I'm really in need of some walking boots. I've got these, I think the Timberlands. Yeah, these Timberlands on. But they've got a slight platform and I'm so clumsy that I end up like falling off the platform all the time. And they're just not really a practical. They're a great like fashion boot for going to work and stuff, but for walking the dog, not the most sensible option. And then it's time again for the autumnal scents. I just have what I had left from last year. So this is my number 1 favourite. Can you see that? It is by the Fireplace by Maison Margiela replica. The replicas of memories, like scent memory. And it's incredible. You can see I've hardly got any left. I only wear this autumn winter, so just put that in my hair where it'll hold because I've hardly got any, but my hair will smell like that then until I wash it probably. And then I've got turmeric latte from Lush, which I probably have enough of to see me through, and then we'll do a bit of a restock. Can you be a bit more patient, please? I best go because she's just going to keep kicking off. On our walk, Daphne just sometimes does this thing where she turns around and wants to go home. And that seems to be our bag today. But we've already walked quite far from the house, so it doesn't matter. So we're heading back in and then we'll do a loop round the park. Some days she's just like, she loves going out on a walk. She gets so excited. 90% of the time she loves it. And then just 10% of the time she's like, seemed like a good idea, but I'm not sure it was. So she literally just turned around and started walking home. So we're heading back. It's a bit warmer than it felt when I was in the garden in my PJs before. I'm listening to this audiobook. The vibes are great for the Burr months, but I'll talk to you about it when I get home, because people always like pop round the corner on this road and I look like a nutter. So I'm gonna head back home, nip to the shop, get some bits to go with dinner tonight, and then we'll chat at home. Now she's decided that that's where we're going. Come on then. Thought you wanted to go home, you said. We are back from the walk. I've just nipped to the shop and got some bits for with dinner. Got some of these spicy Thai crackers. Delicious. Daphne's tummy's been a bit off. She's got a bit off the trots. So she's going to have chicken and rice for dinner. Just nice and easy on the tummy. So I've got some chicken thighs. I've got some rice in the cupboard to cook. I've got my favourite little low-cal treats for after dinner. These are around 100 calories. So for my evening treat, I try and stick to 150 calories max for my like after dinner treat, because I have to have one. I can't not have an after dinner treat. Because when you're trying to like, for me, when I'm trying to watch what I eat, I can't then just like completely deny myself things. I have to find compromises, because you've got a diet in a way that works for you. I'm not so much really on a diet, I'm more just watching my calorie intake, because, well, I've lost 2 stone just by watching my calorie intake. I eat between 1,200 and 1,500 a day, depending on what I'm doing. And then I do have days where I don't count calories because I'm just not in the mood. But I find out that if I watch my calories 80% of the time, 20% of the time, I can do what the hell I want. But anyway, sorry, Sean rang me then, rude. I've got some of these deliciously dunkable things. Nice fat gals. I'm really hungry, so I'm going to make myself a vegetarian sausage sandwich for lunch. I've got kitchen roll because I forgot to order it on my Ocado shop, and I cannot function without kitchen roll. It drives me absolutely insane not having kitchen roll. And then my partner, I don't know if you know, Sean's a wagon driver. And it's his Saturday and he does like 1 in 4. And the Great North Run is on tomorrow, and we live in Gateshead, next to Newcastle. But he's driving around Newcastle today and half the roads are shut for the Great North Run. So we all know that I'm sober, but I treated him to a little bottle of whiskey so he can have a nip of whiskey after his tea. And then Daphne's run out of her favourite like raw treats. So I just got some jumbo so she can have a little munchy moo in the garden. Maybe I can't give her them actually because the tummy's off. Didn't even think about that. So I'm going to make my sausage sandwich, and then Darling, put my pyjamas back on, and then Darling Desi, I don't know if you watch her, but she's got a new YouTube vlog out, and all of her YouTube vlogs are like super high quality. She must spend so long making them, and they all feel like you're watching like a 90s rom-com. They're just like vlogs of a day, but they feel like you're watching like a rom-com or something. The way the style that it's filmed in and stuff, it's just so aesthetically pleasing. So if you don't watch Darling Desi and you're an autumn girl, go and watch them. I mean, her vlogs are nothing like mine, because mine aren't professional, but hers are just like super professional, really beautiful to watch. And she's just like the sweetest, like, seems like the sweetest human. She's like quirky in the best possible way. So I don't find that I watch her in summer, but as soon as autumn rolls around, I'm like, get those darling Desi vlogs on. So I'm going to do that. I'm desperate for a brew. I'm spitting feathers. We're back in our PJs. My sausages are in the oven. Daphne's chicken's in the oven. It's only about midday, actually. But I'm just going to cook it now, and then she'll get like 2 or 3 portions out of it. So that's the plan. I plan to not move now very much today. I'm just watching a different vlog before I put Darling Desi on, because I want to save Darling Desi until this light's terrible for me. Ugh, I look like an old bag of potatoes. Darling Desi is my favourite, so I'm gonna save that for when my sandwich and my cup of tea is ready. Put this little candle on for the first time. I hope it smells good because it looks so good. Sandwich. Yes, Warby's White is the best bread. I don't care what anyone says. We do have fancy bread sometimes, but I like Warby's White. A sleeping kitten. I'm about to press play on Darling Desi, and I've got my snuggle up mug with a cup of tea. The latest one is the newest one, kicking off autumn. Her videos are so cute. Confirm if you see this little candle in TK Maxx, she's not just a pretty face. It smells absolutely incredible. When candles are like real fancy, I always worry that the scent through is going to be shit. Do you know, when they look really nice? But smells amazing. I think they're about 12 quid. And then if you watched my vlog last week, I've restyled this chair. So the furry throw was across the seat. And then I had, if you can just see over there, that green cushion was in front, but the pumpkin kept falling off. So I've just restyled that chair, and I quite like it. It's just, it's really autumnal, cute little pumpkin. That's some changes that I made since I showed you last week. It looks cute. Full-time job, screaming for treats. Paula, is it? Is it? Yeah, she admits it at least. I thought it had been a really long time since I sat down and had a chat with you in a vlog. So I thought that's what we'd do today. I've got something to tell you. I've got a little secret to tell you that I'm going to share with you now. Also, I thought we'd have a chat about some things that I've watched on TV in the past couple of weeks that I've really enjoyed, like thriller, mystery, get ready for fall kind of things. And then I've sort of having a little break from my fantasy reading, and I've read a couple of thrillers. Oh, I've read one and I'm halfway through another. So I thought I'd share those with you, but I'll only talk about books for about 5 minutes. So if we get to that bit and like my mother, you are not interested in what I have to say about books, then I'll give you a warning and you can skip forward a couple of minutes. So I just thought we'd sit down, I'll tell you a secret, and then we'll talk about TV and books. I've just got a little cup of tea. Can you see it? Oh, yeah. A little cup of tea in my snuggle up cup. I'm feeling so autumnal now. So, are you sitting comfortably? I'm going to chat on at you. So if you've not got a brew right now, go and grab one. And then let's sit and have a gossip, essentially. I'll give you 30 seconds. So, what's my friend doing? Have you got a brew? If you hear any dings, my friends are just messaging me to try and arrange a time for a sleepover with my friend Becky, who I've not seen for ages. We've got some nice vlogs coming up. This isn't the secret. We've got some nice vlogs coming up. So next weekend's a bit of a weird one because it is my yearly the brewery that I work at has a beer festival. So I'm working that next weekend. I'm on the door with my mate Jordan. I was on the door last year. I don't mind being on the door because people bring the dogs and then I get to kiss loads of dogs and stuff. And I always have a laugh with Jordan, and I don't really I don't drink. So everyone else like works on the bars and stuff, and I'm quite happy outside with my little clipboard, letting people in. People bring me out cups of tea. It's really nice, and as it's in September, the weather's generally all right. If you've been watching my vlogs for a while, we actually did it last year. I've opted to work on the door, by the way. They've not put me out there because I'm sober. They've not like relegated me to the door. I'm like, I'll work the door. That sounds fine. And then sell little tokens. I work on the tokens desk once everyone's in. So that's what I'll be doing next weekend. I'll bring you with me. I don't know how much we'll film, and then we'll probably just do like a little Sunday together. That's Friday night and Saturday night, so I'm going to be pooperoonied. And then what else? Oh yeah, then my friend Sally is going to come and have a sleepover one weekend. We're going to have like a practical magic night, which will be really lovely. When my friends come to stay, Sean sleeps on the futon, and whichever friend's staying sleeps in bed with me, and then we do like movies in bed, and we have breakfast in bed in the morning. And I just like to make it super cozy for people who are coming to stay. My friend Kay says it's the best service she's ever had. So we're having like a PJ party, me and Sally. And then the exciting one is that me and Sean are off for a week from the 22nd of September, I think. So I've booked us as a little treat a 2-night stay up in Scotland. And I've told you that I'm obsessed with the programme Outlander. Well, it's round the corner. Well, about a 40-minute drive from Lollabroch, which is actually called Mid-Hope Castle, which is like the main guy from the past, like his ancestral home. And there's another castle just down the road. So it's pet friendly. So Daphne and Paula are coming. We're staying in this really cozy little cottage with an open fireplace. It's just a 1-bed cottage. It looks so cute. It's right on the beach as well. So we're staying there, and we're going to do a little dog walking tour and castles, and we might go for lunch in Edinburgh because it's just about 25 minutes from Edinburgh, and it just sounds like it's going to be heaven. Because as much as I love my house and as cozy as I feel, I suffer with productivity anxiety. So yesterday I did all of my cleaning, so today I feel like fully relaxed. I've walked the dog, I've done all of my jobs. But it's nice to take a brain break from thinking, I'm sat here watching telly, but I could be sorting my wardrobe out or getting a load of washing on or whatever. And I do genuinely feel like cozy and comfy and relaxed in my own home, but I always have to get those jobs done first. And it would be nice to give my brain a break from having to get those jobs done. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else, but if the house isn't clean and tidy and in order, I cannot relax anyway. Don't get me wrong, I'll be cleaning this cottage 100%. But we're doing that for I can't remember, 2 or 3 nights. I think it's just 2 nights. And then also we've got a wedding to go to. So we're doing some fun things. So that's why I thought this vlog could just be like a nice, relaxed, cozy little chat and a catch up. The big secret news is, that isn't really that big. Maybe it is, maybe you think it is. Me and Sean have decided to get married. We've been together for 5 years. You'll notice I'm not wearing an engagement ring because there was no big proposal. Neither of us are marriage or wedding people. I was engaged a few times when I was younger and it never worked out. And now I have this phobia that once I'm engaged, it puts loads of pressure on it and it makes me panic. So there was no proposal or anything. Sean's just not that kind of person. He's really loving and really sweet, but he's not he's like small romantic gestures. Like he'll always pick me up from wherever I am. He brings me sanitary towels and flowers when I'm on my period. Like romantic in those little ways that really matter to me. I'm big on acts of service, but he's not the kind of person who would be like, I'll propose, because also he knows that I would hate that. If it's your thing and you love big weddings and big engagements, I love it for other people, but it's just not for me. So he's not bought me an engagement ring. We just had a really frank chat. We were out on a date night a couple of months ago and we were chatting about the future and future plans, things that we want to build together and achieve together, like paying off this house, buying a second home, moving to the middle of nowhere to the countryside. And we were just talking about all of those things that we want to build together. And for me, I feel like society is built for marriage couples. It just is. Tax breaks wise, if the worst happens, It's just like that, a little bit of, in my mind, a little bit of extra security when it's with the right person. And don't get me wrong, I love him, I want to be married to him, but marriage just isn't a big deal for me. That's why I've not really spoke about it. That's why there was no like, I'm engaged, because that just doesn't float my personal boat at all. So I actually have an engagement ring that my grandmother gave me, an emerald ring for my 21st, I think it was. She gave me an emerald ring because it's my birthstone. I was born in May, and then when she passed away, I actually took her wedding ring. And they fit me perfectly. So I have her wedding ring and an emerald ring. Do you want me to show you? Are you interested? I can show you. So this is actually her little box. It doesn't feel right to me to wear an engagement ring. One, because of all the times I've freaked out before when I was young and an alcoholic and thought that being engaged would like anchor me to another person because I couldn't be anchored to myself. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, I got engaged a few times when I was much younger and much stupider. And every time it made me just start thinking, well, this is wrong with the relationship. That's wrong with the relationship. And I always backed out. So now I just want to be like super casual about it because I know that I wanted to be married to him. Not that I feel like that about Sean, because there is nothing wrong. He's lovely and perfect. So this will be the engagement ring. But I guess because there was no like big proposal, it feels then strange to come home and be like, oh, I'm going to get this engagement ring out. But once I'm married, I'll wear it. I'll wear it on my wedding day. And then this is my grandmother's engagement ring, wedding ring. So I'm going to wear that. So it'll just be these little two, like that. But for right now, I don't feel the need to have one on. And plus, rings annoy the shit out of me. Does anyone else do that? I used to wear loads of chunky silver rings and ended up giving them all to my friend Lydia because she used to irritate me all day. So that's another reason. But anyway, we're not really having a wedding. We're getting married. I think a few people were a little bit upset with me because they thought they weren't being invited to the wedding when I told them that we were getting married. But truly, there is no wedding. As much as I'd love to have like my whole family there and stuff, I don't want to spend that money that I could spend on the house and things like that on what in my eyes is essentially a party. I love other people's big weddings, don't get me wrong. If you're having a big wedding and that's your jam, I'm happy for you to spend your money on what makes you happy. But that wouldn't make me happy. It would make me stressed out. And I'd be spending money on like canapes and stuff, and I'd be thinking I could have a new old carpet for that. Or I can redecorate the hallway, or I can do some work in the garden. Every penny I spent on a wedding, I would be thinking of the things that I actually wanted to spend on that I could be spending on. I think people struggle with the concept sometimes when people really aren't interested in big weddings and stuff. People who love big weddings and spend loads of money on getting married and stuff, not everyone, I'm not generalising, but find it quite hard to wrap their head round someone who isn't interested in that. And I'm really not. I mean, Sean didn't ever think we were getting married, and we've just grown to a point where that makes sense for us, and we want to be married to each other, and I want to call him my husband. He already calls me his wife anyway. He has for years. Literally, I've invited 14 people. I've got quite a big family. So I've just explained to my family and like my cousin, who I'm really close to and stuff, that if I invite one family member, then I've got to invite everyone because I love everyone equally, and I'm not picking and choosing and upsetting people and playing that game. So I've got my two best mates coming. I actually invited another one, but she's on holiday. At the time, I was bridesmaids at all of their weddings, bar one who isn't married. So I've invited those girlies, and then my mum and dad, and my mum's best friend. I've invited him, and that's it. That's all I've invited. And then Sean's got his mum, his dad, his stepdad, his stepsister, his sister, and her partner coming, and that's it. That's the whole invite list, done and dusted. So yeah, that's all we're doing. I've booked a really beautiful little registry office up in Northumberland in Alnwick. We're doing it next August, which will be on our 6-year anniversary. And then after that, the only thing I've done so far, by the way, is booked a registry office. This is just the general outline in my head. We're getting married at 3 p.m. We are going to rent an Airbnb the night before, in like Alnwick or Alnmouth or something around Northumberland. And then we're going to go for like late lunch, early dinner at this pub that I love called the Whitling House in Alnmouth. And then if you've got a dog and you're invited to the wedding, you can bring your dog. Because Daphne and Paula obviously isn't coming to the wedding because that'd be really weird. She'd hate it. So, but Paula will be at the luxury cottage and waiting for us to get back. Then we're going to go for a dog walk on the beach and just have a really lovely chilled time. My 2 friends are coming, who are coming with their partners, husband/partner. I don't know if we're going to get like a larger cottage together, and then after we've gone for a dog walk, everyone can come back then to the larger cottage. I've not even looked at that. This is just me rambling now. I imagine I'll probably go and have a look at some dresses with my mum. I'm thinking something super low-key. There's a picture of a wedding dress. I'll pop it up here. It's not actually a wedding dress. It's a little embroidery anglaise dress from Nobody's Child. This is the kind of vibe that I'm going for. I'm thinking that, ballet pumps, and then just some gypsy grass in my hair that I can take out after. Anyway, so that's the vibe. I'm thinking little ballet flats, little cute, just very plain white dress, and some gypsy grass. Just want to look like a little sort of cutesy hippie type vibes, I think. So that's what I'm thinking of now. I might completely change my mind by the time it rolls around. But anyway, that's that. So we are getting married next year. It just doesn't feel like a big deal to us. It feels like the next natural step. I've always had this thing in my head where I thought, the thing that's always freaked me out when I've been engaged before is, do I really want to spend the rest of my life with you? And I've never been able to make that leap and commit. And I've always thought about, can I make them this promise that I'm never going to leave them? And the answer was always no. This is the most romantic thing you'll ever hear me say. But for the first time in my life, I feel like the answer to that question is yes. I feel like I can really make him that promise that people make to each other. And I think I can mean it as much as anyone can mean it, because things change and people change, and I'm completely aware of that. But I'm the most confident I've ever been in my life in any relationship that is something that I can say and mean it in that moment with my whole heart. But like you say, that's why I've never wanted to get married, because, well, I did used to want to get married, as I've already said, but every time I've backed out, it's because I've really thought about like the sanctity of it, because I don't want to get divorced, but I guess no one who gets married does. But I feel like it's been very much thought through, and I'm feeling confident that it's the right thing for us to do. So that's happening. But anyway, let's talk about TV and films. So, no, not films. I don't know why I said films. Recently, I'll hurry this up. I've been talking for 18 minutes. I have recently watched The Guest. Loved it. If you love like a thriller in a glam sort of setting, this young girl's really like financially struggling. She's living in like this horrible like block of flats, really struggling financially. And she meets this really crazily rich woman. And she offers her a job as her like housekeeper, and she takes it, and it all seems perfect. This woman seems like great, like she's really trying to like help this girl, give her a leg up, but all is not as it seems. I really enjoyed that, really fun watch. I love like a thriller, a psychological domestic thriller, but like set in like a posh house or something like that. That is like my favourite thing. I think I actually might watch some Agatha Christie this afternoon. I'm feeling very autumnal, and I always find a murder mystery to be such an autumnal watch. Oh, yes, I watched a new documentary that came out about the White House farm murders, the Jeremy Bamber stuff. If you don't know about it, it's about a man who has been convicted of family annihilation, but because the police didn't preserve the crime scene, there's not a whole lot of evidence to suggest that he did it, and he has always maintained that his sister, who suffered of schizophrenia, did it. It's kind of a locked room mystery, but that's why they agreed it was the sister initially. But then it came out that actually there was a way that he used to shimmy the window so it would lock from the inside when he shimmied it from the outside. There's a whole lot to this story. I went into this thinking Jeremy Bamber is 100% guilty. I came out thinking he was 99% guilty. I still think he did it. I can now see, after watching this documentary, why some people are so staunch in the belief that he's innocent. I can see kind of both sides of the coin now, which I think is a good place to be in. I mean, I'm not like I have no qualifications other than I watch a lot of true crime, so who am I really to say? Just check trigger warnings because 2 little boys did lose their lives in the family annihilation. They don't really cover it in any great detail other than to mention it, but just be careful. Check trigger warnings. There are some crime scene photos, and there's also a really excellent dramatisation of it called The White House Murders that I think is on ITV. I believe it's on ITV, but give it a Google. But the dramatisation was really excellent. Something that I've not watched yet. 2 things actually that I've not watched because one isn't out at this moment. It'll be out by the time this video's out, it'll be out. So there was on is it on ITV? Yes, on ITV, a new thing with Sheridan Smith called I Fought the Law. It's a true story, and it's about a woman whose daughter was murdered. And the guy who she knew had done it, his case was thrown out for whatever reason. I'm not sure if there wasn't enough evidence or whatever. And then there used to be a double jeopardy law in the UK, much like the American one. And she fought to have that law overturned so he could be re-prosecuted and ultimately go to prison for murdering her daughter because she knew for a fact that he'd done it. It's meant to be a really emotional watch, so be careful of that one as well. And the other thing is, I only recommend like really dark stuff, is The Girlfriend. This comes out on Prime on the 10th of September, and I cannot wait to watch this. It's apparently about a woman whose son gets a new girlfriend, and she hates her. She thinks she's like a social climber, and she basically does everything in her power to prove that this girl is like no good for her son. But I think it's one of those thrillers that's like perspective based. So like, whose side are you on? Is the mother delusional, really overbearing, or is this girl actually like bad news? So that looks like a really fun watch as well. And then we're going to talk about books just for a couple of minutes because I've not read many. So Mum, if you're watching, fast forward about 4 minutes. That's it. Also, if you don't like books, you can do the same. So I've not read Onyx Storm yet. So I've been reading the Fourth Wing trilogy. So I did ACOTAR, then straight pretty much into Throne of Glass. Then I read One Dark Window and The Night and the Moth. And then I read Crescent City. And then I straight away started Fourth Wing. So I've just been in this fantasy world since like last December. And I just felt like I really needed a brain break. So I've read 2 of the Fourth Wing books, which I'm really enjoying, but I don't love them the way that I've loved the Sarah J. Maas books so far. But they're really enjoyable, but I just felt like I needed a brain break. So I'm having a little reset and I'm feeling autumnal. So I'm just reading a couple of thrillers that I'll tell you about. But I am going to go back to Fourth Wing. Just sometimes I think you need a little sorbet for the brain, a little palate cleanser. I want like murder mystery. I just need a break from the magic and the dragons for some reason. But that's how I'm feeling, so I'm just going to go with it. I think you ruin reading for yourself when you force yourself into like a pigeonhole of finishing this series, finishing that series. So, yeah. So I read one called, that seemed really promising, but ultimately I rated it 3 stars. It is like quite a fun, fast-paced read, and it's a podcast premise, which I love. There's a lot of things for me that just didn't add up, that I can't say without giving spoilers, so I won't say. Basically, the premise sounds so intriguing, and it is good. It is a fun read. If you're looking for something to get you out of a slump, like a real page-turner, then it's perfect. The chapters sometimes are as short as 1 page. So I'm not saying don't read it by any means, but it just wasn't my favourite. What did you do? No, tell me what you did. That's what it's called. Tell me what you did. And it's about this girl who's got a bit of like a dark secret from the past. Her mother was like murdered when she was very young. And ultimately she witnessed it. And she has started a podcast where criminals come on and she says 5 words, tell me what you did. And then they confess their stories to her. There was a few plot holes in that for me. If you've read it or if you plan to read it, you'll kind of know what I mean. Yeah, there's a few points where I was like, no one will do that. No one would do that. No one would do that. But there's a lot of that in thrillers. Sometimes you've just got to suspend disbelief and just read. Do you know what I mean? And ultimately her past comes back to haunt her via her podcast, obviously. So it's a good page turner. If you're in a reading slump, then I'd say pick it up. It did like give me the brain cleanse from the fantasy that I needed. And that is The Death of Mrs. Westaway, which we're about halfway through the plot. No, about a third of the way through. The plot's super hard to explain, but I'm going to try. I can't really give any spoilers for this book because I've only read the first quarter, so we'll just sort of explain what's in the blurb without giving any spoilers, but the vibes are incredible, perfect for autumn. I've never read a Ruth Ware book before, but I'm really enjoying it. It's like quite descriptive. I feel like I get quite lost in it. It's not like a super fast-paced style thriller, but it's like mysterious and a little creepy, and I'm just loving it. And there's like loads of magpies, which I love. It's one of my major dreams to make friends with ravens and like have them come to my garden every morning and bring me gifts. It's one of my major life ambitions when me and Sean moved to the countryside. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So it's by Ruth Ware. And it's about this young girl. She's really struggling for money. She's called Harriet Westaway. She calls herself Hal. And her mum has passed away a few years previous and she's sort of alone in the world. Her mum had told her that her dad was like this guy who was like a one-night stand. Never knew him. And then it's told in dual timeline, but the dual timeline from 1994 only happens, in my experience, like once every 10 chapters. You don't know who the other timeline is, but it seems to me like it could be this girl's mother. So, and she's at this big manor house. So what has happened is Hal is really struggling for money. She's a tarot card reader. She has a stall on Brighton Pier, but she's not making any money, really. She gets this letter in the post telling her that she's inherited, like, this fortune in the will from her grandmother who's passed away. And she's like, I don't think this person's my grandmother, but they've put my name, my letter, they've sent me a letter inviting us to the funeral and to this big manor house and the reading of the will. And she's like, I think there's a case of mistaken identity here. But she decides that she's in such a bad spot financially that she's going to go and see what happens. And the saving grace is basically... Oh, in fact, I'm not going to say that. That might be a spoiler because there is some tension around that at the beginning, so I won't say that. So, yeah, she ends up going off to this big manor house to claim this inheritance, not really knowing if she's going to get caught out, if the family are going to be like, who the hell are you? But she decides to spend the last of her money, risk it for a biscuit, and go to this big, creepy, old manor house to claim this inheritance. And it's so fun so far. I'm loving it. It's so, like, autumn coded, and there's all these magpies that live on this property, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And the magpie rhymes, like, in the beginning of the book. So I'm going to read some of that this afternoon. And then I've just actually heard on the Darling Desi vlog that... Rachel Harrison's got a new book out. If you've never read Cackle and you want like a female power witchy book, Rachel Harrison wrote Cackle. She writes books that are listed as horror, but they're not really horror. They're like domestic sort of dramas, but then they have like elements of the supernatural. But I've never found a Rachel Harrison book scary, and I'm a scaredy cat. I love horror and the paranormal, but I'm a scaredy cat. The latest one is called Play Nice. It's the trope of young girl moves back to a home that she believed was haunted when she was a child, but is it just childhood trauma, or is this house really haunted / possessed? So this is her latest one, and it's a haunted house one, and I'm so excited to read that. I think that's out about the 15th of September, so I think I'm going to go and pre-order that on Amazon. So I've been gabbing for ages. I'll try and edit some of that out because a lot of that was pure waffle. But But yeah, so that's my little secret story. I'm gonna go now. Sean's not home yet, but I'll catch back up with you in a bit when I'm making dinner, and that'll be lovely. Speak to you later. Hello, we're cooking dinner. I'm going to show you how I make my 3-ingredient ramen. The salmon's in the oven. I've got a bag of veg. That's not classed as one of the ingredients. A jar of tahini, which I'm sure you know, but it's basically sesame seed paste. Sesame paste. Chujang paste. These go a long way. I think it's about a £5 to buy, but you get so much, and I need a spoonful of that. And I need a spoonful of that. And all I do is fry off my veg. Then I put some water in the veg. I don't do measurements. Put some water in the veg with a vegetable stock cube. I add a little bit of soy sauce, a spoon, like a tablespoon of tahini, and then depending on your love of spice, I put a tablespoon of that in because we like spice. And that is my ramen done. It is not an official recipe. It is not an authentic or traditional recipe. It is made up by me because I had these bits in the cupboard and I didn't have any of the Itsu ramen broth, and I thought that'll totally work, and it was delicious. So this is what I'm making for dinner, and then we use the Itsu flat noodles. Those are the best. I literally just put my salmon in the oven, no oil or anything. Put it in the oven on 200 for 20 minutes because I feel like 200 for 20 minutes cooks everything. It's easy, it's nutritious. So I'm going to cook that. I'm going to put an egg in for Sean. I can't have eggs, they don't agree with me, they really upset my stomach. The veg is in, so I'm just going to stir fry that for a minute. I do the bok choy separately because although cabbage and anything of that ilk is actually probably my favourite veg, also gives me instant trap wind, so that's a very sexy story for you there. Instant trap wind from cabbage, sprouts, anything like that. So I can't have that, so I just cook that off for Sean right at the end. It's a sad, sad story for me. Then welcome to my world. I measure nothing. So after that's been frying for a bit, I pour some water in and then put a veggie stock cube in like this. You can put whatever flavour you love to have in, obviously. I'm going to put about this much gochujang paste in. Then I'm going to put about this much tahini in. And then I'm just going to leave that for about 10 minutes. It's fun because it's different every time. I'm just going to put a little sprinkle of soy sauce in, leave that to cook for about 10 minutes. Then add my noodles, my salmon will be done, and we'll be eating our tea. Noodles are in. I will state again, this is not an official Japanese dish. This is just from my brain when I'm looking to be lazy, but it tastes flipping wonderful. I'm going to show you Sean's version because it's much more interesting than mine. Admittedly, the egg is overcooked, but that is, the salmon takes 20 minutes, but the rest of it, I'd say it's a 20-minute tea with prep time. It's really healthy. It's really delicious. It feels like a treat tea. So that's what I'm having. Hi, fancy seeing you here. I've just had a bubble bath. I've put some fresh PJs on, because what is better than a bubble bath and fresh PJs? On a Saturday night, I used to go out clubbing, and now I go to bed. It is about 8 o'clock, I think, and I feel wonderful. I've got a very shiny head, I've got a big spot there. I think I'm perimenopausal, guys, but I feel like I've chatted your ear off enough today. I feel like that's a story for another time, but in short, I've been getting like PMS symptoms, not just like being fuming, but like all the time. Like I know luteal phase is like so overused now, but it's nice to actually understand your own cycle. I actually listened to a really good podcast called 28-ish Days Later, And it's 28 episodes and each day is a different day you cycle, and it's really informative. So I'm actually, luteal phase isn't overused. I'm glad we actually know what it is, because actually women's health is very under-researched. But I feel like it's like the buzzword at the moment is luteal phase. That's probably a better way to say it. But I've basically been feeling like I'm in my luteal phase for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I've been getting little that's sort of only got one at the moment, but I've been getting like little spots like I do before my period. Loads. I'm 41 for reference. Little spots like I do when I'm coming on, and I never get spots unless I'm due on. And then also I get ocular migraines when I'm due on, and I got a random one in the middle of my cycle, and I was like, that's not normal. And then I've been getting like full body aches is like a symptom of my period for me. It's to do with like when your estrogen drops, estrogen helps to lubricate the joints, so you can get like aching joints when your estrogen drops as you're about to like start your period. And I've been aching all the time, and I said to my mum, like, told my mum all my symptoms, that I've just been feeling like dead rough all the time, random period pains. I had an extra period last month, and my mum was like, I'm quite worried about you. So she started doing some research. She rang me back and she was like, do you think you could be perimenopausal? And I was like, oh my God, I absolutely could. So I've booked just a phone call with the doctor on the 19th of September, I think I've booked it. Yeah, I have, 19th of September. And then I hope from that phone call I can get a blood test or something to find out if I am, just so I can like start managing it properly. And just so I know what's going on, because if it could be something more sinister and I'm like, I think I'm perimenopausal, guys. But I'm 90% sure it's perimenopausal. I'm not worried about it. Anyway, I have to send it a story for another time. I just told you the whole freaking story, didn't I? So I'm in bed now. I'm going to leave this vlog here. I've just started watching a programme that I've scrolled past a few times and thought, not that bothered about that, or I've not been in the mood. I've just put it on, it's brilliant. I've just finished episode 1. It's called Truth Be Told. It's on Apple TV. And the premise, there's 3 seasons. The premise of season 1, spoiler free because I've only watched 1 episode, but spoiler free in terms of like what the trailer gives away. It's about this woman, and it's with Octavia. I've totally forgot her second name, this lady. So it's about this woman, and she is an investigative journalist. And like 20 years before the show starts, she did like an investigative story about this young guy who'd been accused of killing his neighbour, okay? And she wrote this like really in-depth piece about him, and essentially like really painted him as a monster, which ultimately played a part in getting him tried as an adult, and he's now like in prison for life without a chance of parole. And this new like evidence comes to light. It makes her believe that she might have put an innocent man in prison, but it is not that straightforward. And she decides to basically start because she's oh sorry, I forgot to say she's now got like the most successful true crime podcast in America, and she decides to start a new podcast about this new evidence and how she thinks he might be innocent. And it's I just burped then, sorry. It's like a really interesting watch so far. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm gonna get an early-ish night tonight. I'm about to ask Sean to make me a cup of tea. She always fumes about. I don't know why. I think you just can't be asked to. I bought a whistle. I got rid of my electric kettle and I bought a whistling kettle. It takes fucking ages to boil. It's one of the worst mistakes I ever made. And he never used to mind making me a cuppa. Now I've got this whistling kettle that takes 8 to 10 working days to boil. It always fumes when I ask him. He's like, you bought this kettle and now you're making me make you a brew with it. So I think we're going to go back to the old plug it in and click it on kettle. So if you're thinking that a whistling kettle will be really quirky and cute and cosy, it won't be. And when you turn it on and then leave the room and then it whistles, it's like the most anxiety-inducing sound of all time. So step away from that cute whistling kettle that you're looking at. just get a normal one. Anyway, I'm going to try and go to the gym in the morning. I know I'm going to go to the gym. I'm not going to try. And if I remember to film when I'm in there, I will put this footage up here because I did say I wanted to hold myself accountable. So I'm going to try and get an early-ish night. I'm going to watch a couple more episodes of this. Force Sean to make me a bro because he's better than mine. And I'm just going to watch a couple of episodes of this in bed because it's so good. And then I'm going to read my book and get some sleep. And I'll see you next week. I've had a lovely time hanging out with you. Thanks for listening to me ramble. It's been a very rambly vlog. I've been a real chatty gal this week. Hope to see you here next week. I love hanging out with you. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy my content, because I'm really trying hard to build my YouTube channel. And every subscribe, it's just, my mum was confused about subscribing on YouTube, okay? She thought you had to pay because it was called subscribe, which I can see in my head, but it's just the same as following on any other platform. Anyway, I'm rambling like hell. I'm going to go and watch this programme. And I'll speak to you next week. Have a great week. And don't forget, I'm also on TikTok. Love you. Bye.